Hi, and welcome to this installment of guided tasting here from Mazza. I'm Mario Mazza.
I'm Blaine Ballard.
And we're here on the deck at South Shore Wine Company, overlooking some of our neighbors' vineyards and farm, to share with you the wines that we're going to be tasting and that you'll be receiving as part of this shipment from the Inner Circle Wine Club.
For the dry red selection of the Veraison shipment, I chose 3 wines that grow pretty well in this area and we can make some fantastic wines with. A couple of the wines are hybrid varieties that have been developed to grow in cooler climates. We'll be tasting a Chambourcin, a Noiret, and a Lemberger, also known as Blaufränkisch. Mario will go through some of the winemaker's notes. I'll go through some of the tasting notes. Included with your shipment is a packet of tasting notes where you can follow along. So let's get to tasting.
So we're going to start off with Chambourcin, which is a French-American hybrid variety. So it was actually developed and for some time was actually widely planted in France. It had some resistance to phylloxera, a root nematode that devastated a lot of French vineyards. It's fallen out of favor to a degree in France, but is still planted across a significant part of the eastern U.S. has plantings of Chambourcin. There's also some notable plantings actually in other parts of the world, including Australia, where there are some vineyards in both the Hunter Valley and McLaren Vale that grow this variety. It has great versatility with regards to this wine. We're tasting a red variation, although this is a wine or a grape that we use for rosé and fortified winemaking and sparkling as well. But the red here we're tasting is, again, Pennsylvania grown fruit. It's under the Mazza Vineyards brand, and these grapes ripen very late in the season, lighter tannin structure, but has the the ability to really develop some great color, great red fruit aromas.
Yeah, very nice. I get some black cherry noticeable right up front. A little bit of pepperiness coming through, a tiny bit of spice.
And we keep this aged in used or neutral oak, so we don't tend to over oak this wine. We don't use any new oak with this wine. That can tend to overpower the delicate red fruit nature. Again, the alcohols are a little bit lower. They're balanced typically year to year, ranging between 12 to 13% alcohol. So not real heavy and high, but it also means that we have to be conscientious with how we're maturing these wines so that they don't fall out of balance and that fruit doesn't fall away. A little bit of the oak just to help with that bit of tannin structure, but just to carry it balanced again with the red.
Yeah, nice and bright. Fruit really pops through right on the nose and on the palate. So really nice wine to start out this group for sure.
So the next one we've got is the Noiret, and this is from South Shore Wine Company. And Noiret is a more recent red hybrid development. So this was actually bred out of the Cornell breeding program. And this variety has very notable pepper characteristics. It comes from actually a chemical called rotundone that actually is identified by the Australian Wine Research Institute, but notable for cool climate Shiraz as well. So you're going to get some of this white pepper character often that's very varietal with Noiret.
Yeah, definitely the pepperiness, almost a little black licorice, a little bit darker fruit in there. This is, like you were saying, relatively new, but this is new this century, isn't it? Like 2006 or something like that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, within the past 15 to 20 years, this variety kind of came into planting. You're seeing it here, particularly in the northeastern part of the U.S. That there's plantings. It's a little bit more cold tolerant, so it does well with regards to winters here. It can have some great color as well, as you can see in the glass. But yeah, has that really distinct pepper note, and that's something that we're also working with our growers, because when you talk about something that's only been available for 10 or 15 years, that's infancy compared to some varieties that have been around for hundreds of years. So we're still learning a little bit as we go each year with what works best in the vineyard and the winemaking that goes along with it.
Yeah, I would assume that time of harvest has quite a bit to do with those characteristics that come through as well.
Yeah, it's something they're trying to optimize the maturation, and there's a lot of research still going on in terms of understanding. You want that dimension of that spice, but too much of it can maybe be overpowering and one-dimensional. So really optimizing, I guess, with regards to the picking timing and how we handle the fruit in the winery.
Yeah, very interesting across the board with the hybrid grapes on how watching the development of them and how they come along.
Absolutely. So the third wine and the final red for this flight is the Lemberger, or Blaufränkisch, from Mazza Chautauqua Cellars. So Lemberger, or Blaufränkisch, as it's also known as, is a variety that originated in Austria, is widely grown in Austria, in that part of Europe. And this is a lighter style red, so if you have someone, or you are someone that enjoys a Pinot Noir, I think this is a variety that is a great analogy in a lot of ways. It's a bit more winter hardy, so it does well from a growing perspective for us in this region. It has a little bit lighter color characteristics, tannin structure, and again, it's kind of a mid-season ripener in terms of when we're harvesting this fruit.
Probably the brightest of all three. Very, very snappy on the palate right away. Get almost some raspberry characteristics along with those darker fruits. Really nice.
And this wine tends to carry a bit of acidity, which is great, holds up. This wine does see oak aging again. And again, we're using a balanced approach. So using some maybe second or third use barrels as the newest, and over into some neutrals as well. And this just allows us to feather in the oak, but again, not dominate the flavor, not dominate that fruit characteristic. And we're going to try to, typically, we're seeing this wine, whereas Chambourcin, often we're keeping in cooperage for maybe up to 12 months. Something like Lemberger, we're often seeing 16 to 20 months of age in barrel, and that allows that acidity to mellow and soften a little bit, integrate with the oak, but it's also the acidity that allows that wine to hold up well and take on that maturation.
Yeah, more nuanced on those flavors, and as the finish develops, they come through a tiny bit of the wood, and then the fruit characteristics really pop through as that finish carries over the palate. So three great selections from the Mazza family of wines. Hope that everybody enjoys them out there. These are a fantastic way to introduce some folks to red wine who may not have been into it, and those that have been, very enjoyable, all three of them.
So enjoyed discovering some lesser known varieties. Cheers.
Cheers.